Okay, I am.
Wherefore did the soul from its exalted height fall into the abysmal depths? But within the fall, the power lies to rise again.
May his merits protect us. Had a golden chair, and on it was carved, David, King of Israel, lives forever.
Rev Israel of Ruzin, of blessed memory, bore himself like a king. 24 musicians always played at his table, and when he traveled, it was never with less than 6 horses in tandem. Dwelt Reb Shmuel of Kaminka, they say, used to walk about in golden slippers. In golden slippers.
The holy Reb Zusiel of Anapol was a pauper all his life. He went about in a peasant shirt with a rope for a belt as he begged for alms. And yet he achieved no less than the Rebbe of Talma or the Rebbe of Ruzin.
Please don't be offended, but you really don't know what we are talking about. When they speak of the greatness of the Talner or the Ruziner, are they talking about wealth?
No.
Are there enough rich men in the world? After all, one must realize that in the golden chair, and in the orchestra, and in the golden slippers, lay a deep secret, a profound meaning.
Who doesn't know that? Anybody with open eyes could see. They say that when the rabbi of Abt first met the Ruziner on the road, that he ran to kiss the very wheels of the carriage. And when they asked him the meaning of his act, he cried out, "Fools! Don't you see? This is the very chariot of the Lord!"
The point is that the golden chair was no chair. The orchestra was no orchestra. The horses were no horses. All that was merely a suggestion. It was a reflection. It was a role. A sheep for their greatness.
True greatness needs no rich robes.
You are mistaken. True greatness must have its proper raiment. Have you heard the story about the cat o' nine tails of Reb Shmelka of Nikolsburg? Two litigants once came before Reb Shmelka. One, poor. The other, rich and influential. Reb Shmelka listened to both parties and decided in favor of the poor man. Then the rich man grew angry and announced that he would not abide by the decision. Calmly, Reb Shmelka replied, "You will obey. When a rabbi renders a decision, it must be obeyed." Then the rich man grew really angry and began to shout, "I laugh at you and your rabbinical authority!" Thereupon, Reb Shmelka arose to his full height and cried out, "Carry out my verdict this instant. If not, I'll take out my cat o' nine tails." This really enraged the rich man, and he began to insult and blaspheme the rabbi. Then, Reb Shmelka opened the drawer of his desk a little. Suddenly, there burst from it the primal snake and wrapped itself around the rich man's neck. The rich man cried out, "Help, Rebbe, forgive me. I'll do whatever you say, but please call off the snake." Replied Reb Shmelka, "Indeed, you will. And you will even warn your children and grandchildren to obey the Rebbe." And he removed the snake.
There must have been some mistake. Reb Shmelka could not have called upon the primal snake.
Why not?
Well, the primal snake is the evil one himself. Heaven protect us.
What's the difference? Reb Shmelka here must have known what he was doing. I really don't understand you. I tell you a story that occurred before witnesses. Dozens of people saw it with their own eyes, and you come along and say that it couldn't have happened? As if I just like to hear myself talk?
No. I merely thought that there are no such names and combinations that could summon the evil one.
Satan, summoned by that great doubly spoken name, is diffused in the flames of the highest peaks, the deepest valleys.
Is there no danger in uttering that divine name?
Danger? No. But in the great yearning for the spark and flame, the vessel could burst. Who is that young man?
He's a student at Yeshiva.
He's an excellent student. A genius. He knows 500 pages of the Gemara by heart.
He is from somewhere in Lithuania. Studied here at Yeshiva. And he was considered the best scholar in the entire school. He was ordained as a rabbi. Suddenly, he disappeared and was gone for a whole year. They say he left to perform the penance of exile. He returned only recently. A changed young man, always deep in meditation, fasting from Sabbath to Sabbath. They say he's mixed up in Kabbalistic studies.
Who knows who he is? Maybe one of the great ones. Who can tell?
Listen to this. Senator just drove off to look at a bridegroom for his only daughter.
Bah! 3 times Senator's gone to look for prospective bridegroom, and each time he returns with nothing. Either the bridegroom isn't good enough, or the family isn't good enough, or the dowry is too small. A man should not be so hard to please.
Senator can allow himself that luxury. After all, he is rich, no evil eye, comes from a fine family, and his daughter is good, as well as beautiful.
In the old days, when a rich man of good family wanted to make a match, he didn't look for money or social position. He looked for personal qualities. He might come to a large yeshiva, offer the headmaster a handsome gift, and ask him to select the best student in the school. Senator could have done that too.
He may have found the proper bridegroom in the yeshiva here.
Matches are made by fate.
Scrolls, and them In them are contained all the secrets, all the mysterious combinations from the 6 days of creation unto the end of the generations of man. And how hard it is to wrest those secrets from them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 scrolls. The numerical value of the letters in the word truth. And in each scroll there are 4 handles, each called a tree of life. Again, the number 36. Not an hour passes that I do not come upon that figure. 36 is the sum of the letters in the name Leah. Three times 36 is Chana. Leah also spells out, not God, not through God.
Oh no, you are wrapped in dreams.
I see no clear road before me.
You have plunged too deeply into the Kabbalah, Hannah. Since you came back, you haven't touched the Gemara or the other commentaries.
The Gemara is cold and dry. The commentaries are cold and dry. Within the earth, there is exactly such a world as here above. There are fields and forests, seas and deserts, cities and towns. Only one thing is missing. There is no tall sky from which the fiery lightning may issue or the sun blaze. Such is the Gemara. It is deep, it is great, and it is glorious. But it chains one to the earth. And Kabbalah tears one's soul from the earth. It raises man to the most exalted holiness and opens all the heavens to one's sight.
The Gemara elevates the soul, though it does so slowly. It embraces a man. It protects him and keeps him from turning off the proper road.
I follow my own road.
What sort of road?
The task of the tzaddik, the righteous man, is to cleanse human souls, to elevate them to the bright source whence they came. The generations grow weaker, the sins ever greater, and the tzaddikim ever fewer. There is no need to wage war against sin. Elevate it. As a goldsmith purifies gold in a hot flame, so too must sin be purified of its uncleanness until only holiness remains. All that God created has within it a spark of holiness.
Sin is
not the creation of God, but of Satan.
And who created Satan? God. Are not the hosts of Satan also called the other side? And as the other side of God, as a facet of God, they must possess within them sanctity. Which sin is the most powerful of all? Is it not the sin of lust for a woman?
Yes.
And if this sin is purified in the heat of a great flame, does not even the greatest uncleanness turn to highest holiness? To the Song of Songs? The Song of Songs. Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. Thy teeth are like a flock of sheep that are even shorn.
Layla has promised to embroider a quilt to commemorate the anniversary of her mother's death. She will work the purest gold thread into the finest velvet, stitching out little lions and eagles, as they did in the old days. And when they hang that curtain on the holy ark, her mother's innocent soul will rejoice in heaven.
Layla, aren't you afraid in the synagogue at night?
I've never before been in the synagogue at night, except on Simchas Torah, and then it is bright and festive. But now, how sad it is here. How sad.
Synagogue must be sad. At midnight, the dead come here to pray, and they leave their sorrows here.
Oh, how old it is.
So many times, this town has been burnt to the ground. But the synagogue has remained unharmed. Only once did the roof catch fire. And then there came doves without number. And they beat their wings, and they put out the fire.
I want to fall against these walls, to embrace them, and ask them why they are so sad.
Layla, there stands a young man over there gazing at you.
Oh, he is Hanan. He used to take his meals at our house.
Oh, he looks at you as if he wishes to call you with his eyes. Why is he so pale and sad?
He must have been ill.
It's not pale and sad. His eyes are sparkling.
His eyes always sparkle.
May we kiss the holy scrolls?
It is not fitting to visit with God and not kiss his holy Torah. Good evening, Hanan. You have come back?
Come, Layla, kiss the scrolls.
child, enough! One may not kiss the scrolls for too long, for they are written upon with black fire, upon white fire.
Thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. I want to reach a clear and sparkling diamond, to dissolve it in tears and absorb it into my soul. I want to reach the rays of the third divine emanation, the sphere of beauty. Be careful.
You will not attain all this by holy means.
And if not by holy means, what then? If not by holy means.
Senator just met with prospective in-laws, and he says they did not agree. Senator insists on 10 years board for the couple, and they refuse to go above 5. So, they broke up.
The 4th time.
You said yourself that matches are made by fate.
My friends, wish me mazel tov. Happy be the hour. My daughter is betrothed.
But we were just told that you couldn't reach an agreement and that the whole business was called off.
Yes, well, it very nearly did fall through. But at the last moment, the groom's father gave in, and we signed the agreement.
Has burnt out. A new one must be lit.
Why is it so dark in here? We'll light some candles. Candles?
Have you come to terms with the groom's father?
Yes.
Sometimes parents make a promise and then go back on their word. It is even brought before rabbinical court. One should be careful.
Who is this man? Well, has anyone heard of some new sayings from our rabbis? Some parables, perhaps?
I'll tell you a parable. Once, there came to the Rebbe a Hasid, very rich but stingy. The Rebbe took him by the hand, led him over to the window, and said, "Look." The rich man looked down into the street. "What do you see?" asked the Rebbe. "I see people," replied the man. Again, the Rebbe took him by the hand, led him over to the mirror, and said, "Look. What do you see now?" "Now I see myself," the man replied. "You see," said the Rebbe, The window is glass, and the mirror is glass. But the glass in the mirror is likely silver. And with that addition of silver, one no longer sees others. He only sees himself.
Are you trying to needle me?
Heaven forbid.
Yes. Hey! A dance, huh? A dance! Yes! What? Is Cinder going to marry off his only daughter without a dance? Go! Everyone!
He's dead. The harm has been done.
When that murderer, Khmelniki, may his name be blotted out. When he came to our town, he slaughtered half the Jews, and with them he killed a bride and groom as they were being led to their wedding canopy. They were buried here, on the very spot where they stood, both in a single grave that has come to be called the Holy Grave. Our rabbi here sighs from the grave, and it has long been the custom here to dance round the Holy Grave and cheer the buried bride and groom.
What a meal for the poor. In all my born days, I've never seen a feast like this one.
No wonder Cinder's marrying off his only daughter.
Fish for everyone. Then, roast fowl. And dessert to top it off. And before the feast, there was honey cake and brandy. It must have cost a fortune.
But Cinder knows what he's doing. If one of the invited guests feels ill-treated, there's no great harm done. But if one of the poor feels ill-treated, then there's great harm to pay. You can never tell who's under these pauper's clothes. Maybe just a beggar. Maybe somebody quite different.
Why not the prophet Elijah himself? He always appears in beggar's guise.
Well, it's not only the poor who must be treated carefully. You can never tell about anyone who he is, or who he was in a previous incarnation, or why he was sent to this world.
The bridegroom will arrive in good time.
Oh,
Well, that means he's
always
gonna
on
be
time.
dancing.
Oh.
as a sheep, Layla. You didn't tire yourself.
They took me in their arms. They surrounded me, pressed themselves against me, reached for me with their cold, dry fingers. My head swam. I grew faint. Then someone lifted me high into the air and carried me far, far away.
Layla, they have creased and stained your dress. What will you do now?
If you leave the bride alone before the wedding, demons come and carry her off.
What kind of talk is that, Layla? You mustn't mention those dark spirits by name. They listen to everything and they wait for someone to
They
utter
are
their...
not evil. We are surrounded not by evil spirits, but by the souls of those who have died before their time. It is they who watch and listen to everything we do and say.
What are you saying? Souls? What souls? The untarnished souls of the pure fly up to heaven and repose in the brightness of paradise.
No, they are among us. A person is born to a very long life, and if he dies before his time, what happens to the rest of his life? To his joy and his sorrow, to the thoughts he was not given time to think, to the deeds he was not given time to do. What happens to the children he was not given time to have? Where does all that go to? There lived a young man with a lofty soul and a deep mind. His whole life lay before him. And suddenly, in an instant, his life was cut off. What happened to the rest of his life? To his words that were silenced, to his prayers that were cut off. When a candle burns out, it can be lit again. And it burns till the end. How then can the unconsumed candle of a life be put out forever?
You mustn't think about such things. The Lord knows what he's doing. We know nothing.
No human life goes to waste. If a person dies before his time, his soul returns to the world to finish the span of his years, to feel the unfelt joys and sorrows. At midnight, the dead come to the synagogue to pray. Why do they come? If not to finish the prayers they had no time to say. My mother died in her youth. She was not given time to live out all she was destined to. Today I will go to the graveyard and invite her to join my father in leading me to the wedding canopy. And she will come. And afterwards she will dance with me. And so it is with all the souls who have left the world before their time. They are among us, but we do not see them. We do not feel them. You want too very much. You came to see us. And hear their voices. And understand their thoughts. I know. I know the bride and groom that are buried here. I see them in my dreams. As they walked to be wed, before them stretched a long and lovely life. Then evil men appeared with their axes, and both bride and groom fell dead. They are buried here in one grave, so that they will not be separated for all eternity. At every wedding, when there is dancing round the grave, they rise up and share in the joy of the bride and groom. Holy bride and groom, I invite you to my wedding.
Souls of the dead do return to the world, but not as disembodied spirits. Some souls must go through several incarnations in order to achieve purity. They must wait for a sun to cleanse them. And then there are some wandering souls who can find no rest. They enter the living body of another as a Dybbuk in order to attain purity.
Thea, why are you still sitting here? The bridegroom and his party have arrived. Are you ready?
She's yet to visit the graveyard.
Go, child. Go and visit your mother's grave. Invite your mother to the wedding. Tell her that I want us both to lead our only child to the ceremony.
At the cemetery, may I invite others to join me besides my mother?
Only the near relations.
I would like to invite someone who is not related. He is not a stranger. In our house, he was like one of us.
Say he died in a natural death. A sin beyond me, but I don't know where his grave is.
I know where he is. I saw his grave in a dream.
Shalom Aleichem! And welcome.
We lost the road and wandered about in the fields for a very long time. Then we blundered into a swamp and were nearly swallowed up. I was beginning to think that evil spirits had protected us, were worked to stop us from getting here. No time to rest. We still have much to discuss concerning our mutual obligations. So, depositing the dowry, the cost of the wedding, the food, the music. Yes, of course.
You are not my bridegroom!
Leia! My child! Leia!
Holy bride and bridegroom, protect me! Save me!
You buried me! But I have come back to my destined bride, and I will not leave her! Murderer! He has gone mad!
The bride has been possessed by a Dybbuk!
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a 15-minute intermission.
Yep, she's
In a downhill boot, it's totally different. You're clamped in.
So your foot doesn't move at all in a
No.
No, we're all right.
You're not supposed to.
I see.
You really aren't anyway.
so is that how it
I
is?
tell you about mobile gas.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they did it last year.
the edge of the world stands a tall mountain, and on that mountain lies a great rock, and from that rock flows a clear spring. And at the other edge of the world lies the heart of the world, where each thing in the world as a whole has a great heart, and the world as a whole has a great heart of its own. And the heart of the world gazes always at the clear spring, and cannot have its fill with looking. It longs, and it yearns, and it thirsts for the clear spring, but it cannot even take the slightest step toward it, for as soon as the heart of the world stirs from its place, it can no longer see that mountain top with the clear spring, and as soon as the heart of the world cannot see the clear spring, if even for a single instant it loses its life, and at that very moment the world begins to die. And the clear spring has no time of its own. It must live with the time that the heart of the world grants it. And the heart grants it only one day. And when that day wanes, the clear spring begins to sing to the heart of the world, and the heart of the world begins to sing to the clear spring. And their singing spreads over the world, and from it issues gleaming threads that reach into the hearts of all things, and from one heart unto another. And there is a man of righteousness and of grace that walks about over the world and gathers the gleaming threads from the hearts, and out of them he weaves time. And when he weaves an entire day, he gives it to the heart of the world. And the heart of the world gives it to the clear spring. And the spring lives yet another day.
They tell about the holy Baal Shem. May his merits protect us. Once, there came to Mezhebush some fellows, acrobats that were, who do their tricks in the streets. They stretched a rope across the river. And one of them began to walk upon the rope. And people came running from all parts of the city to see this marvelous feat. The holy Baal Shem also went down to the river and stood there along with everyone else, watching the man who walked upon the roof. His students were astonished at his presence there, and they asked why he had come to see the tricks. The holy Baal Shem replied, I came to watch so that I might see how it is that a man crosses a deep abyss. And as I watched, I thought, if only man could develop his soul as carefully as he develops his body, what deep abysses might the soul not cross on the slender cord of life? Human souls, through anguish and pain and many an incarnation, strive to reach their source, the throne of glory. But it sometimes happens that even after a soul has reached exalted heights, that evil suddenly overwhelms it, God forbid, and the soul falls. The more exalted it was, the deeper the abyss into which it falls. And when such a soul falls, a world is destroyed.
Rebbe, Sender of Brennitz has come.
Sender of Brennitz, I know.
A great misfortune has befallen him. His daughter has been possessed by a Dybbuk. May God have mercy on us.
Possessed by a Dybbuk, I know.
Well, he has brought her to you.
To me? To me?
Rebbe, all the world comes to you.
I am old and weak.
Rebbe, behind you stand long generations of tzaddikim, holy men.
My grandfather, the great Reb Zelbala, used to exercise Dybbuk without either holy names or incantations, with merely a command, with a single command. Call in Sender.
Sender Ben-Hinyan.
Rebbe, have pity, help me! Save my only daughter.
How did misfortune occur?
In the midst of veiling the bride, just as she was...
That's not what I'm asking. What could have caused misfortune to occur? A worm can penetrate a fruit only after it begins to rot.
Rebbe, my child is a God-fearing Jewish daughter. She is modest and obedient.
Children are sometimes punished for the sins of their parents.
If I knew of any sin of mine, I would do the penance.
the Dybbuk been asked who he is and why he's taken possession of your daughter?
He does not answer. But he was recognized as a student of my yeshiva who died some months ago, quite suddenly in the synagogue. He was meddling with the Kabbalah when he came to grief.
You knew him?
Yes. He ate regularly at my house.
Did you, perhaps, in any way, cause him grief or shame? Try to remember.
I don't know. Don't remember? But I'm only human after all.
Have the girl brought in.
Leah, was Kana?
Go in, Leah.
I want to enter, but I cannot. Maiden, I command you to enter. Sit down.
Let me go. Let me go. I refuse.
Dybbuk, I command you to say who you are.
Rebbe of Mirapolye, you know who I am, but I do not wish to reveal my name before others.
I do not ask your name. I ask, who are you?
I am one of those who sought new roads.
He only seeks new roads who has lost the right one.
That road is too narrow.
That was said by one who did not return. Why did you enter into the body of this maiden?
I am her destined bridegroom.
Our holy Torah forbids the dead to abide among the living.
I am not dead.
You departed from our world, and you are forbidden to return to it until the great ram's horn has sounded. Therefore, I command you to leave the body of this girl, that a living branch of the eternal tree of Israel may not wither and die.
Rebbe Mirapolye, I know how powerful you are. You can command the angels and the seraphim. You cannot sway me. I have nowhere to go. For me, every road is blocked. Every gate is shut. And everywhere, evil spirits lie in wait to consume me. There are heaven and earth, worlds without number. Not in a single one is there a place for me. And now that my anguish and harried soul has found a haven, you wish to drive me forth. Have pity. not compel me.
Wandering soul, I feel great pity for you. And I will try to release you from the destroying angels. But you must leave the body of this girl.
I will not leave.
Dybbuk, soul of one who has left our world, I, as Rioka Ben-Hadass, command you to leave the body of the maiden Leia Batkana, and in leaving, not to harm her, nor any other living creature. If you do not obey my command, I will proceed against you with anathema, with excommunication, with all the powers of exorcism, and with the whole might of my outstretched arm. If, however, you do obey my command, I will do all in my power to reclaim your soul and drive off the...
I do not fear your anathema and excommunication, and I do not believe in your assurances. There is no power in the world that can help me. There is no more exalted height than my present refuge. And there is no darker abyss than that which awaits me. I will not leave.
In the name of Almighty God, I charge you for the last time and command you to leave. If you do not, I give you over into the hands of the destroying angels and excommunicate you.
I am joined with my destined bride, and I will not part from her.
Bring ram's horns and black candles. In order to excommunicate a Jewish soul, permission must be obtained from the rabbi of the city. Go to Rabbi Shimshon and ask him to come here as quickly as possible. Sender, where are the bridegroom and his party staying?
They remained at my house in Brünitz for the Sabbath.
Send a rider to inform them, in my name, that they are to remain there and await my command.
Yes, I'll send a rider at once.
In the meantime, you may go and take the girl into the next room.
What will they do to him? What will they do to me?
The Rebbe knows what he's doing. The Rebbe cannot harm you.
May the week ahead be a good one, Rebbe.
A good week to you too, Rabbi. And a good year. Please sit down. I have troubled you because of a most important matter. A Jewish girl has been possessed by a Dybbuk. May God have mercy. And nothing will induce him to leave. There remains only the last resort, that of excommunication. I therefore ask your consent, and the good deed of saving the soul will be yours.
excommunication is a bitter enough punishment for the living. How much more terrible for the dead. But as so godly a man as you considers it necessary, I delegate to you my authority. But I must first reveal to you, Rebbe, a secret that has a bearing on the matter.
Please do.
You may remember, Rebbe, a young man from Brinitz, Nisan ben Rivka, a student of Kabbalah who was a Hasid of yours about 20 years ago.
He left for some distant place and died there.
Yes. Well, this very Nisan ben Rivka came to me in my dreams 3 times last night and demanded that I summon Sender of Brinitz to a trial before a rabbinical court.
What claims has he against Sender?
He did not say. He only charged that Sender had spilled his blood.
If a Jew has a case against another and demands a trial, a rabbi cannot refuse, especially when the accuser is deceased and can therefore appeal to the throne of glory itself. But does this have a bearing on the matter of the Dybbuk?
It does. I have heard that the deceased young man who entered as a Dybbuk into Sender's daughter is the son of Nisan ben Rivka. There is also talk of an obligation that Sender had to Nisan, which he did not fulfill.
In that case, I shall postpone the exorcism until tomorrow noon. In the morning, God willing, right after prayers, we will ensure that your dreams are for good, and you will summon the deceased to a trial. Afterwards, with your authority, I will drive out the Dybbuk.
Inasmuch as a trial between the living and the dead is difficult and unusual, I would ask you, Rebbe, to consent to be the chief judge and to conduct the trial.
I accept. Have the girl brought in.
There, Baskana.
Dybbuk, I give you half a day's time till tomorrow noon. If you do not leave within the designated time and of your own free will, I will, with the authority of the rabbi of the city, expel you through the bitter force of excommunication.
No!
Sender, remain here a while. Sender, do you remember your friend of years ago, Nisan ben Rivka?
Nisan ben Rivka. He died.
Know then that he appeared 3 times in dreams last night before the rabbi of the city. And demanded that you be summoned to a trial to answer his charges.
To trial? Me? What does he want of me?
I do not know what his accusations are, but you must obey the summons.
I will do as you say.
Send the swiftest horses to Brennan's immediately. And inform the bridegroom and his party that they must be here before noon tomorrow, so that a marriage can take place as soon as the Dybbuk leaves.
Rebbe, what if they no longer approve of the match and refuse to come?
Tell them that I have commanded it. But be sure that the bridegroom is here in time.
The bridegroom will be here in time.
My dream was good.
Your dream was good. Now, we shall notify the deceased to be present for the trial. But first, I shall mark a circle beyond whose margins he shall be powerless to pass. Hand me my staff. Go to the cemetery. At the first grave that the staff touches, strike the grave with the staff and speak these words.
departed, Azrielke, son of the great Tzaddik Reb Itcheler of Miropolia, asks your pardon for disturbing your rest, and he commands you to inform the blameless deceased Nisan ben Rivke by ways known to you to come before the just tribunal of Miropolia for a trial, and to come in the same garb in which he was interred.
Make a partition for the deceased. Call in sender.
Sender Ben Henya.
Sender, word has been sent to the blameless deceased Nisan ben Rivka that this court calls him to appear in his case against you. Will you accept our verdict?
I will.
Will you carry out our decision?
I will carry it out. Rebbe, I remember now. Nisan must be calling me to trial over a vow he took. But I am not the fault of the matter.
Tell it later, after the plaintiff has stated his grievances. Soon, there will appear among us a man from the true world, so that we may judge between him and one who is from our world, of illusion. And should this court deviate from the law, there would be a protest in the celestial court itself.
He is here, I think. I think he is here.
He is here.
Blameless deceased, Nisan ben Rivka, this just tribunal decrees that you may not step beyond those bounds and the partition it has assigned to you. Blameless deceased Nisan ben Rivka, this just tribunal commands you to state your claims and grievances against Sender ben Henya.
I hear a voice, but I hear no words. I hear words, but I hear no voice.
Sender ben Henya, the blameless deceased Nisan ben Rivka, states his claim, saying that in your youth you were students in the same yeshiva, and that your souls were bound together in loyal friendship. You were both married in the same week. Later, when you both met at the Rebbe's house during the high holy days, each of you pledged that if his wife should conceive and bear a child, the one a girl, the other a boy, the children would win.
Yes, it was so.
The blameless deceased Nisan ben Rivka states further that soon thereafter he departed for a distant town, There his wife bore a son, and at the same time your wife bore a daughter. And soon after that, he died. In the true world, he learned that his son was blessed with a lofty soul and was rising to ever greater heights. And the father's heart was joyful and proud. And he saw further that when his son grew older, he went out into the world and traveled from place to place, from country to country, from city to city, for his soul was drawn to her for whom his soul was destined. And he came to the city where you live, and entered your house, and sat at your table. And his soul was united with the soul of your daughter. But you were rich, and Nison's son was poor. And you turned your gaze from him, seeking other matches for your daughter among families of wealth and station. And Nison saw how his son was plunged into despair and went wandering off into the world, seeking new ways. And the father's heart was filled with fear and sorrow. And the powers of blackness, perceiving the despairing youth, spread their nets for him, and captured him, and took him from the world before his time. And his soul wandered homelessly until it entered as a Dybbuk into the body of its destined bride. Nison ben Rivka declares that with the death of his son he was cut off from both worlds, with none to bear his name or say a prayer for his soul. His sight has been put out forever. The crown of his head has rolled down into the abyss, and he asked the just tribunal to judge Sender in accordance with the laws of our holy Torah for spilling the blood of Nison's son and of his son's children and their children to the end of time.
Sender Ben Henya, did you hear the charges of the blameless deceased Nison ben Rivka? What do you have to say in your defense?
I have no words for my defense. But I beg of my own comrade to spare me my child. For I did nothing out of ill will. Soon after our vow, Nison departed, and I did not know whether his wife had borne a child, or whether it was a son or a daughter. Then I learned that he had died. Further news of his family I had none. And gradually I forgot.
Why did you not inquire? Why did you not investigate?
Because it is customary for the boy family to take the first steps, and so I thought that if a son had been born to Nison, then he would have informed me.
Nison ben Rivka asks why, when his son was received into your home and sat at your table, did you never inquire of him who he was and whence he came?
I don't know! I don't remember! But I swear that I was always drawn to take the youth as my son-in-law. That is why when any match was proposed, I set such hard conditions, so that the groom's father would never agree to them. That is how 3 proposals fell through. But this time the relatives insisted.
Nisan ben Rivka declares that deep in your heart you recognized his son, and therefore you were afraid to ask who he was. You sought for your daughter a life of riches and of ease, and therefore you thrust his son into the abyss.
This just tribunal has heard both sides and now delivers its verdict as follows. Whereas it was not known whether at the time of the vow between Nisan ben Rivka and Sender ben Henya their wives had conceived, and whereas according to our holy Torah, an agreement is not binding that pertains to a thing not yet created. We cannot therefore conclude that Sender was obliged to fulfill the pledge. Since, however, the pledge was accepted in the sacred precincts, and the thought was implanted in the heart of Nisan ben Rivka's son that Sender ben Henya's daughter was his destined bride. And since Sender's subsequent actions caused great misfortune both to Nisan ben Rivka and his son, this just tribunal therefore decrees that Sender should give half his wealth to the poor, and that he should, as long as he should live, on the anniversaries of the deaths of Nisan ben Rivka and of his son, light a memorial candle and recite the mourner's cottage for them as though they were his own children. This just tribunal asks the blameless deceased, Nisan ben Rivka, to forgive Sender with full forgiveness, and it further asks that he should, with the full authority of a father, command his son to leave the body of the maiden Leah Baskala, that a branch of the eternal tree of Israel may not wither and die. And for that, the Almighty will manifest his grace to Nisan ben Rivka and his homeless son.
Amen.
Amen.
Blameless deceased, Nisan ben Rivka, did you hear our verdict? Do you accept it? Sender ben Henya, did you hear our verdict? Do you accept it?
Yes, I accept it.
Blameless deceased, Nisan ben Rivka, the trial between you and Sender ben Henya is now over. You must return to your place of rest. Senator, have the bridegroom and his party arrived?
I sent the swiftest riders, but there's been no sound of their arrival.
Send a second rider. And have them beat the horses as hard as possible. Arrange for the wedding and the musicians. What will be done will be finished.
Did you understand that the deceased did not forgive, Senator?
We did.
Did you understand that the deceased did not accept the verdict?
We did.
We have done our part. Now we may leave.
Rabbi, remain here a while. I should like you to perform the marriage ceremony after the Dybbuk leaves. Have the maiden brought in.
Lea Baskana.
Dybbuk, in the name of the rabbi of the city, seated here, in the name of the holy congregation of Jews, in the name of the great Sanhedrin of Jerusalem, I, Azrielka Ben-Hadad, command you for the last time to leave the body of the maiden Lea Baskana.
I will not leave.
Bring the ram's horns and the black candles. Sinful and stubborn spirit, since you are not humble unto our will, I now give you over into the power of the higher spirits to expel you by force. Blow Takia!
Let me go! Do not drag me! I will not. I cannot leave!
Since the higher spirits cannot conquer you, I now give you over into the power of the middle spirits, those who are neither good nor evil. Let them tear you out. Blow Shvarim!
I'm torn by the most terrible souls of the great and the just. But I will resist them and remain.
Light the black candles!
of the Holy Torah. I, Azrielka ben Hadass, command you and sunder every thread that binds you to the living world and to the body and soul of the maiden Leah Bas Kana. And I declare you excommunicated from all of Israel. Blow Teruah.
I can struggle no more.
Do you submit?
I submit.
Do you promise to leave the body of the maiden Leah Bas Kana and never to return to it?
I promise.
Then by the same power and authority through which I excommunicated you, I now revoke that excommunication. Put out the candles. Lord of the universe, God of compassion and of grace, behold the great suffering of this tortured and homeless soul, whom the sins and errors of others caused to stumble. Sweep from its path all angels of destruction, and in thy palaces prepare for it eternal rest.
Recite Kaddish for me. My appointed time runs out.
Sender, say Kaddish first.
Yiskido, v'yiskidash, Shemei Rabo, Bolmo, Divaro, Hirusei, V'yamli.
Lead the bride to the wedding canopy.
No, the second rider has just returned and the bridegroom's carriage is broken away. Right here.
Let be what must be. Let us proceed to welcome the groom.
Who is here with me? Help me. Rock me to sleep. They are going to dance round the holy grave so the dead bride and groom may rejoice. Who sighs here with such sadness?
I do.
I cannot see you.
A forbidden circle brings you round.
Your voice sounds as sweet to me as the weeping of violins on a silent night. Who Who are you?
I have forgotten. Only in your thoughts can I remember myself.
I remember now. My heart was drawn to you as to a bright star. On silent nights I have shed sweet tears, and always in my dreams I saw a figure. Was that you?
Was.
I remember now. Your hair was soft and glistened as though with tears. Your eyes were sad and gentle. Long and slender were your fingers. Day and night I thought of you. But then you went away, and my light was put out, and my soul withered. And like a desolate widow was I when a strange man approached. Then you returned, and in my heart bloomed a life of death and a joy of sorrow. Why have you forsaken me again?
I broke all barriers. I surmounted death. I defied the laws of the ages and generations. I struggled with the strong, the mighty, the merciless. And when the last spark of my strength was burnt out, I departed from your body to return to your soul.
Return to me, my bridegroom, my husband. I will carry you in death in my heart, and we will together in the dreams of night rock to sleep our unborn babes. We will sew them clothes to wear and sing them lullabies. Going to lead me to the canopy with a stranger. Return to me, my bridegroom.
I departed from your body. I come to your soul.
Barrier the hems is broken. I see you, my bridegroom. Come to me.
Come to me.
A great light flows about me. I am joined with you, my destined bridegroom.
Lead the bride to the wedding canopy!
Too late! Blessed be the true judge.
Wherefore did the soul from its exalted height fall into the abysmal depths? Within the fall, power lies to rise again.
Hope you had film in that thing.
That's really special.
Yeah.